Jumrib Su, Bonpon, Akne, Swati Kap, my Thai brothers and sisters all around the world. How is everybody doing today? Guys, the Khasod English just released an article about Ghost Mountain. And before I start reading that article, I just want to tell you guys that our voices are being heard. And what this conflict did is not only expose Thai, but it brought us, brothers and sisters. We are more united, more than ever before. And as long as they got our soldiers and they don't return them, we're going to keep exposing them, because we all know that country is fighting a war on identity. Okay? And when we frame it that way, it just seems like everything seems to just fall right into place. And I want to thank again you brothers and sisters, because you guys are the real MVPs. I have learned so much from all you guys. And because we're talking about Ghost Mountain, I want to make sure that if you have some kind of that you lived through it, or you've been through it, or grandma or uncle have told you a story about it, Khmer Rouge, genocide, Ghost Mountain, please write it at the comment below, because a couple videos ago, many moons, I read a lot of your stories, and I want to go ahead and have you tell that story again so the new brothers and sisters can read it, because knowledge is power. And what I'm trying to do is give you all the information that I can, so that you will never have to second guess yourself. Because if one thing us Cambodians have is that history is on our side. And just like Serpenter always says, our history is written in stones. So without further ado, let's get into the article. This is from the Khasod English, okay, by Pravit Rajana Pruk. Explores the most controversial, disturbing, and little known episode of modern Thai-Cambodian relations, the so-called Dengrik genocide, or Ghost Mountain. And there's a picture of all the Cambodian refugees, because a little backstory: when Thais say that Cambodians aren't grateful, okay, they framed it in a way like they were good saints and they helped the Cambodian refugees, and this is how we thank them. This is what they teach their Thai citizens. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and read this article. It just shows that our voices are being heard, because they can't. We're living in the age of information. They can't run from these things. It's all over the internet. Okay, and they're gonna be questioned, and they have to address it. So let's see how they spin this. How the title is, "How Dark is the Dark Side of Thailand-Cambodian Relations? The Case of the Dengrik Massacre, or So-Called Ghost Mountain." The picture, here's what it says under the picture. The Defense Ministry spokesperson office recently posted an image stating that Thailand once helped Cambodians fleeing the Khmer Rouge 3 decades ago. Okay. The Thai state isn't always the protagonist, as Thais always want to believe. Amidst continued online hostilities between Thailand and Cambodia, despite the fragile ceasefire, the Thai army recently posted a debt of gratitude message and photos reminding Cambodians that Thailand had opened up camps for over 160,000 Cambodian refugees fleeing the Khmer Rouge 3 decades ago. Some Cambodians on X angrily responded. They reminded Thais of the incident that they called the Dengrik genocide, or Ghost Mountain. This is a dark and shameful chapter in the history of the Thai state. The irony is many Thais, especially the younger generation, have not even heard about it. Even if they might have heard about it, they know much less about this than about the tragic events of the so-called Red Barrel killings, the Thai communists during the Cold War in the South, the October 6, 1976 massacre in Bangkok, the 1992 bloody crackdown of pro-democracy demonstrators on Ratchanaman Avenue, or Kru Su and Thai back incidents in Narawat and Patini province when Thaksin Shinawatra was a PM. So think about this. Thailand has been through so much. So what are they learning in their history? And they don't even know their own history. And I said this before, brothers and sisters. How are they going to teach Cambodian their history when they don't even know theirs? The term Dengrik genocide refers to a tragic event that occurred after the fall of the Khmer regime in 1979. This event was part of the wider Cambodian refugee crisis, and here are the details. And here's the background. After the Vietnamese army invaded Cambodia and toppled Pol Pot's Khmer Rouge regime in 1979, a large number of Cambodians, both civilians and Khmer Rouge soldiers, fled the war. They sought refuge and shelter along the Thai-Cambodian border near the Dengrik Mountains. The forced repatriation. In June 1979, Thai authorities decided to push back approximately 42,000 Cambodian refugees who had entered the area near Pervahir Temple. The Thai government cited security concerns and the difficulty of managing such a large number of refugees. However, the pushback was seen as cruel because the refugees were forced back to walk through the route filled with landmines that the Khmer Rouge had planted earlier to block the Vietnamese army advances. This event resulted in a large number of deaths, injuries from stepping of landmines, starvation, and the brutal nature of the forced pushback. This is the event that came to be known as the Dengrik genocide or Prevahir pushback, and it was widely condemned by the international community as a human rights violation. So now he has to paint the picture of what happened back then, okay, to give him credibility, okay? But he left a lot of things out, mind you. Consequences and memory. The incident created lasting resentment and conflict between Thailand and Cambodia over refugee management and border issues. It remains a painful memory for some Cambodians and has become part of an anti-Siamese sentiment, often cited during later conflicts. Talking about the conflict today, because every time Thais and Cambodia have beef, these things come up. And Thais, the Siams, they like to pretend it never happened because that's what the government told them, right? And then when us brothers and sisters attack them with facts, as much as we're learning from them, because every time they come here with their one-sided attack, read what they're trying to say, because that's what the government's telling them. And then every time we fight back with facts, they're learning something, and they have to go back and question themselves. And what am I learning correct? I hope they do. I hope the smart Thais do. In summary, the Dengrik genocide was an event where Thai authorities pushed a large number of Cambodian refugees back into a dangerous area along the Dengrik Mountains. This led to many deaths and injuries and is considered a horrific event in Indochina refugee crisis. At least he's fair, and he's letting us, the reader, know what we already know. And I have to respect that. Another version from a prominent Cambodian scholar. I submitted a few questions to Dr. Deth Sok Udon, professor of international relations and the author of a history of Cambodian-Thailand diplomatic relations 1950 to the 2020s, who is currently a professor in the international relations at Paragon International University in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. I would like to ask a few questions, and I hope you can answer for my column I wrote to Deth. As the Thai-Cambodian border continued to be closed and the future of the bilateral relations between Thailand and Cambodia has reached a nadir in modern history after the 5 days of undeclared war and calls from ultra-nationalists and netizens for the two nations to shut down the border permanently. And one of his questions is, how widely is the so-called Dengrik genocide remembered in Cambodia? Oh, we remember it very well. Number 2, when was it first uncovered or told? It's been told through you, brothers and sisters. That's why it's important for you to write your truth, speak your truth, put in the comments so we all can learn. We all can learn. Number 3, how can it be called a genocide when if it truly happened as claimed by those killing the story, was not aimed at eradicating all Khmers as a race? Okay. Number 4, my Thai photojournalist source, who said he was there at the time, said the soldiers did not shoot. No, said the Thai soldiers shot into the air, but not at the refugees. Any reactions of that? Number 5, was there any official recognition by the United Nations about the incident? If so, can you cite it? If not, why is that the case? Number 6, I pursued through many history books related to Cambodia, Thailand, both in Thai and in English, which was written by Western authors, and found no reference. Why is that? Well, that's because your government, there is no history books. It's all urban legends. I believe both Thai and Cambodian historians need to review the incident, and on the Thai side, so we can learn and acknowledge the past incident, and so it can provide us a lesson not to repeat, and possibly offer preparations if possible. Do you think Thai and Cambodian historians can join? So I have to respect what he's doing. He's trying to be as neutral and non-biased as he can, and he's trying to frame this whole thing because remember, the Thai army controls the media, right? But they can't dodge social media. When all the Thai people, all they see is Ghost Mountain, because if they didn't like us then, they're not going to like us now, because we will no longer stay silent and we stand tall. We stand with facts, and slowly we're going to chop them. We're going to chop them down little by little. We're going to make them question their government. And the fact that he wrote, he wants to learn and acknowledge from the past incidents so it can provide them a lesson so they will not repeat. I have to respect that, right? It's when they deny. It's when the Siams deny and they pretend like none of this ever happened. That's what I don't like. Thank you, and please let me know if you feel comfortable for me to identify you. Here's what Professor Def wrote back. So he's very respectful. And remember, you can be biased on the Thai side. No problem with that. But if you come respectful, as this writer, this journalist did, I mean, we can't hate on that. So here's what the professor wrote back for his question, the first question. The majority of the people, especially most of the new generation, knew little about the Dengrik tragedy, and me included. I knew nothing about this. Before the conflict, I knew nothing. And this conflict not only exposed Thai, but it also taught me a lot about us Khmer and our culture. And by default, I learned so much about Siams. And that's why we're here now. Okay. Because unlike the genocide and the killings in Khmer Rouge period, it is not a national collective memory. Not all Cambodians who survived the Khmer Rouge regime were refugees escaping to Thailand, which is true. And all those who survived, some resettled in other countries. So the stories told to their children are specific to their families' circumstances. Some survivors published their memoirs, but again, it is not a national collective memory as in the case of the Khmer Rouge regime. One such memoir was published in 2018. So when all this was going on, it's not like, every Khmer had cameras and cell phones and videos like we do today where they can document things, right? They barely had whatever they can carry in their hands. That's what they had. And this is why your story, brothers and sisters, your voice, your experience, don't let it die with you. Put it in the comment. Let us, brother and sister, learn your story so it lives on. The international media reports on the massacre on June 1979, which was reported by Henry Kam. So he's just citing his reference where he because the journalist asked him if there's reference, so he's just citing these references. Let me see. I covered this tragic episode of history originally in my doctoral dissertation completed in 2014, which was subsequently published as a book in 2020. Most Cambodians now, however, only became more aware about it after responses by some Cambodians to Thai claim that amidst the current conflict that the Cambodians should have thanked Thailand for receiving hundreds and thousands of Cambodian refugees following the collapse of... Okay, so that's true. That's true. A lot of Thais, since this conflict started, right? Thais like to pretend they're the saints, and because their government has told them that, I don't know why the Cambodians act this way when we help them, because they didn't tell the whole story. Remember, brothers and sisters, if you read the comment, they only helped us because the U.S. was funding them. They would never. They don't like us, and they can pretend that they like us, but they don't like us. They want what we have. That's called history. That's called identity. They want it. They almost had it. And if the French didn't help us, right? They would have got rid of all the Cambodians and rewrite history the way they see fit. Because history is always written by, the people who invaded. Okay. The collapse of the Khmer Rouge regime, a documented titled Ghost Mountain, the second killing fields of Cambodia, has widely watched. Most recently, a young YouTuber, Everyday Sam, shout out to you, little brother. Look, he cited you because he watched your video. You see? And he said, has also compiled other resources and made an animated documentary on this topic as well. And he did a very good job of just giving us, brothers and sisters, all the information. And I had a hater come, well, I don't care what you say because you're a small channel and you don't even have that much views. And you know what I said to him? I said, I don't need 1 million views. I just need one view that goes to the right person. That's all I need. Because one candle can light up many candles, millions of candles. And I'm just one candle. If it goes to the right person who has more authority, more power than me, and more influence than me, then I did my part. But it's not even about that. What I wanted to do was just educate you, brothers and sisters, and educate myself. Because up until this point, I was just Khmer. I didn't know who I was, what Khmer was about. And I'm not saying I wasn't proud to be Khmer, but man, I'm more proud than ever before. And I got to have you guys, brothers and sisters, fighting alongside me. Not behind me, not in front of me, but alongside me. And I enjoy reading your arguments and your debates and killing them with facts. You guys are the real MVPs, and don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that. We stand tall. We will no longer stay silent. We can't. And I'm going to keep applying the pressure. Because what we're doing is a 24-hour job. Every time I find information that I can share, I'm going to do it. Every time you guys find information, and you guys be doing a hell of a job. Brother, read this article. Emailing it to me. I read them. I read all your comments. You name one creator that you can write, and they come on and talk to you. Because I know what I have, and I appreciate you guys. Genocide. may not be accurate in this context, because, you know, when we say Ghost Mountain, we reference genocide, right? And the professor is trying to like just clarify the meaning. While the term has been used by some people, it is done so only to emphasize the magnitude of the tragic deaths caused directly or indirectly by the Thai military force pushback. Some describe it as a massacre or mass killing. Others have referred it to the second killing fields. The term genocide is used probably to emphasize the continuation of the tragedy faced by these refugees who had survived the Khmer Rouge only to face senseless death in their attempt to seek freedom and a new life. So we can debate about that. I can see it as a genocide, because if I look back in history, if they didn't like us and the Khmer Rouge was killing the Khmers, and then they kind of assisted getting rid of Khmers, then yeah, I can see it being the second genocide, right? Because what does genocide mean? To get rid of a race. And that was what was going on. See, the more we learn about Thai history, the more everything makes sense. They're fighting a war in identity, right? And it's easier to take over someone's identity and erase it and then say it's yours. It's much easier to do than what they're trying to do now, to defend this fabrication of identity. And that's why it's falling apart, because it has no weight. No weight. Imagine trying to defend. And I know they're not going to listen to me because I'm biased, right? I'm Cambodian, and my bias is towards Cambodia. But there's brothers and sisters out there, Mexicans, Europeans. You got to speak up. Speak your truth. They might not listen to me, but they'll probably listen to you. So yes, the idea was not to shoot and kill the refugees at the spot, but to force them off the cliff, knowing full well that some of the refugees will step in landmines. You see how they try to make this thing PG, but it's not. You see what their army did. You want to talk about humanitarian? You want to talk about, you know how Thais talk about, oh, they're not thankful, and they want to talk about laws and humanitarian. Yeah, they can go fuck themselves. They knew well there was landmines, and they still sent them. Can you imagine how different Thailand would be right now if they was that country that helped Cambodians? They wouldn't be in their mess. Their country would probably be 10 times better than where it was. But their hate has slowed them down, and it only exposed them. Okay. And then he writes, yes, this was acknowledged and published on UNHCR's page about some of its legacies. So we can't, when we state facts and arguments, we have to not let our emotions, right? How we feel and what is facts, we have to be able to separate it. And this is what the Thais can't do, because they'll come with their emotions. Why? Because they have no facts. They have no facts. So let's read some more. In June 1979, Thai soldiers rounded up more than 42,000 Cambodian refugees in the border camps, pushed them down the steep mountainside at Previhir into Cambodia. I wonder why they want Previhir so much. My speculation is so they could hide the bullshit, what they did. They don't want to find those bones down there. They don't want it. They're trying to hide their tracks. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about it. But obviously, they can't. And now, with social media being the way it is, and the reason why this article is coming out is because if they deny it, with all the facts out there, it's gonna make them look ignorant. right? And stupid and one-sided, which we all see already. One day after the pushback began, the representative of the International Committee of the Red Cross issued an urgent public appeal that they cease. He was ordered to leave Thailand, fearing an advised Thai reaction. UNHCR effectively kept silent, despite the fact that this was the single largest instance of forced return. So they're trying to hide what they did when they sent those Cambodians out, right? Because remember I had the interview, 1979, the interview where he talked about he went back to the, I think it was a doctor, he went back to the camps and they were all gone, right? And Thais, they try to cover this all up, but they got exposed. Okay, let's read another one. This episode is a very specific circumstances and may be overshadowed by the more general historical themes: genocide, civil wars, military coups, and student protests in Thailand. But some books that focus on refugee politics, such as Larry Thompson's or William Shawcross's Quality of Mercy, did touch on the subject. More recently, Temple in the Clouds, Faith and the Conflict at Private Here by John Bird. So he's just giving some background stuff. And then the professor writes, and yes, I welcome any further joint studies by Cambodian and Thai scholars who wish to explore further on this subject and educate the future generations as part of a future dialogue and peace-building roadmap. Mistakes in the past do not have to define the present and future relations, particularly if we can acknowledge how and where things went wrong and instead focus on honest discussion and help our future generation. Yes, Thai. The truth will set you free. And when you keep pretending and you keep dodging like you invented the culture, when Cambodians know that a lot of our influence was from Buddha, from Siddhartha, from India, but you're going to go around telling people that you invented it. That's where people have the problem. The government needs to do better. I sent 2 more follow-up questions to Professor Depp. Two questions, if you don't mind. What do you think was the motive behind the incident? When it was in fact an established fact that tens of thousands more stayed at the refugee camps along the border, and eventually some were resettled in a third country. Was there any evidence that it was a decision made by the top of the Thai government at the time? Let's see. According to UNHCR statistics, in 1978, there were already some 34,000 Cambodians who have sought refuge in Thailand. Initially seeing refugees as burdensome, a major Thai rationale behind the Thai government operation was to bring international attention to its undercapacity to deal with the influx of Indo-Chinese refugees into Thailand. Professor Dev then quoted British journalists, and he quoted. It should be noted that the pushback was not done secretly, and it was intended to send a clear and loud message to the international community. In doing so, Larry Thompson suggested that the Thais achieve their objective. They would not be left in the lurch with hundreds of thousands of Cambodians to protect and feed, who would be potentially security risks and financial drain on the country. So, again, when Thais say Cambodians aren't thankful, and remember one of my arguments was, do you think Thais would spend a dime helping the Cambodians? You think they would spend a dime when they don't even like us? So they sent the soldiers back down that mountain, knowing there was landmines, to make a point. And then the argument is because of security risk, because they thought Cambodians was gonna shoot you, steal you, rob you, hurt you. That's what you thought, Thai? Def then added that this was in June 1979. Eventually, the economic support from the international community and the U.S., etc., the Thai government eventually, from October 1979, pursed an open door policy. So after, I know every Thai's gonna read this article now. The Thai government only helped because U.S. and other nations funded it. But they did not help because they wanted to. There's a huge difference. Let's not get it twisted. Soon after Pol Pot's regime overthrow, Thailand had not been happy with the influx of the Cambodian refugee into its soil. Fearing that the country had to shoulder a long and heavy burden of refugees, and it had already experienced with the Vietnamese and Laotian refugees in Thailand. The Kring Sak government considered Cambodians who fled the country after the fall of the DK not as refugees but as displaced people or illegal immigrants. The Thai therefore use tough immigrants. The Thais therefore use tough measures to discourage Cambodians from becoming refugees in Thailand. So then they write this law that says the new Cambodians coming in are not refugees and that they're illegals. You see how they are? Several hundreds of Cambodians were forcibly repatriated back across. Yeah, we know that. They sent them down the mountain. When the Cambodians started pouring in, no organization or international agencies were providing assistance to the refugees. Local organization, villagers, and even Thai government couldn't handle the burden. People were fleeing the Vietnamese force swept that they overflowed the borders with millions along the length. The situation was worse in the areas like Nong Samet, Nong Chan, Thai Praya, Tap Prik, and Borai, because these were easy places for refugees to reach. And when Thais like to talk about Cambodians using human shields, when the refugees came, where did the Thais put them all? Right by the border. Right? Because they were afraid the Vietnamese, they were using Cambodians as a shield when the Vietnamese was attacking them. Okay, let's just read on, because this is long. I don't want to make this video too long, guys. Finally, the Thai government resorted to a drastic measure, pushed the okay. If Thailand hadn't pushed back at the time, the Cambodians would not have continued to raid and create problems along the Thai border anyways. They had nothing to eat. They would have stolen, looted, or robbed. So their justification, and this is their opinion, the reason why they forced Cambodians back, because they were afraid that the Cambodians would steal, and let's see, they would have stolen, looted, or robbed to survive. And that was a good enough reason to send them back when they have no proof of that. The Thai media did not conceal anything. They tended to expose and report the truth. Yeah, right. When the pushbacks occurred, the Thai government didn't even inform the Thai media. Of course they didn't. They tried to cover this shit up, who only found out afterwards. In the current situation, the media from both countries are expressing patriotism. Each side receives news from their own government, states organization, and does not go to the conflict areas to report. Therefore, both Cambodian and Thai media receive one-sided. No, I think Thai media is good at the one-sided information stuff. Regarding a cover-up, if the Thai media knows something, it's difficult for the government to hide it because of its fierce competition among the media outlets to report first. The Thai media has been behind. They've always been behind. And because we live in a age of information, they can't bullshit the people anymore. So he's just trying to be neutral and not paint his government to be bad. He will sprinkle some of the truth, right? Hey, we did acknowledge our government did A, B, C, D, but the severity is beyond. And here's the conclusion. Given inadequate knowledge and awareness about what happened, particularly among Thais, and discrepancies, it in the accounts gathered. I believe it falls on Thai and Cambodian scholars to work together to shed more light on what occurred, so we can learn from our failures, formally apologize if needed, offer at least a fair compensation to the family members of those affected, and learn not to repeat. Okay. All in all, I have to applaud the efforts. He did the best he can. He put the information out there. Of course, there's more information, but this is one Thai journalist that I feel is one of the real ones. He understands the situation, and he's doing the best he can to bring awareness. And he even wrote in the last couple of sentences, right? Both Thai and Cambodians need to come together, which we know they're not. But that's what he hopes, because he knows what went on. He's not dumb. He did the research. And the fact that he writes, if the Thais did something wrong, to apologize and compensate, make things right. That's what it's all about. I'm not perfect. I done fucked up shit. But you apologize and you be better. That's what he's saying. So I can respect that. I can respect that. And the fact that he's bringing awareness of the situation is good for Thais. Thais need to question their government, right? And brothers and sisters, we have more facts because a lot of you been through it. You heard stories. And this is why, write your experience in the comment below so we can read it. So it doesn't die with you. This is important. This is real life. And with that, brothers and sisters, I want to thank you for liking and subscribing. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. We stand tall. Don't forget, the reason why we're all here in the first place is because we saw what they did to us. We saw how they treat us. And we need to speak our truth. Take care, guys.